Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Doc Talk. It's been a while, so it's good to be back, see everybody's faces. I know that we had to take a little bit of a break with all the travels that we've been having. And tonight we are here with Dr. Jessica Buhler. She is a member of our LifeVantage Science Advisory Board. Dr. Jess also is from South Dakota, and she owns her own chiropractic business, brick and mortar, and said yes to LifeVantage in 2017. I'm excited to hear her story. I know we all have our stories, which are powerful with me. I'm actually coming up on 9 years with LifeVantage on May 3rd, which is so crazy. I never would have dreamed that not only would my life forever be changed health-wise, but just joining the opportunity as well and what it's done for our family. um, it's been amazing. I actually got a little bit of a chance to spend some time with Dr. Jess in South Africa, which was very nice, to be able to chat and just get to know her a little bit. And I really felt compelled to have her on tonight because she's a wealth of knowledge. And just hearing her talk about activation was very powerful. And I knew right away after I heard her talking and just answering a couple of my questions that I really wanted to have her on this evening because it's easy for us, that have been in LifeVantage for so many years to have fallen completely in love with this. And I still to this day want to learn as much as I possibly can. I love all points of views. And everybody has just a different explanation. And with her, it was very easy to understand. I'm not in the medical profession. And sometimes when people explain activation and how powerful our products are, um, it's not always a straightforward response. It can get sciencey and complicated, which still excites me as well because knowing that, we have validation and a lot of when people ask questions and we can answer them, referencing a study or our research or our patents or, all the things. We have so much validation behind what we do. And these products gave me my life back in 2016 after being sick for 7 years, and not a doctor could figure it out. And I love having conversations with doctors because I think it's so intriguing as to why did you choose LifeVantage? And that's going to be my first question to you, Dr. Jess. Thank you for coming on this evening. I really appreciate your time. I know everybody else here does. We will share the recording. Just know that it'll go on my YouTube channel after this, and we will open up for questions after this, after I stop the recording. So again, thank you for coming on and would just love to have a conversation with you and to ask you some burning questions that I have and find out what made you look at LifeVantage back in 2017 and say, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to actually integrate it into my practice because that's really big.
Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful to be here with y'all tonight, but to be here with LifeVantage and to be on a similar mission. If you're on here, it's probably because you said yes. So, yes. My story actually, my first introduction to activation was other than perfect. Everyone thinks they have to have this perfect, prepared presentation that they bring to a doctor, and then the way that they say it is going to be just fabulous, and that everything is just going to be, you know, cookie cutter. And that is other than the way that it works. And it's really, you'll hear over and over again about it's finding somebody at high noon where it's just the right time for them. And LifeVantage was definitely for me an answer to what I thought was an unanswered prayer that I had made continuously the year before. So one of my friends had a scary diagnosis, and to help her from afar, I was in charge of her nutrition. And I had studied in depth NRF2 and NRF1. And before she passed, I remember praying a prayer that was something like, man, God, show me something more powerful, something that will get a better result in a shorter period of time. Like there just has to be something more. And this was definitely that something more. And that research I had done with her made it so when I saw activation, you guys, it was literally third study in. The third study in, I was all in. Just amazing. The science behind our products is really amazing if you're familiar with some of that background. And I'd spent a couple of years really researching just that. And doing that, did not find this product. So that's just another thing that I like to point out to people. Just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you have access to this, doesn't mean you're familiar with any of it either. So it's the science is not just unfamiliar to the average person. It's definitely um, this is definitely so massive what we have. And so I read through the studies, and then I did what everyone does, right? I Googled it because I wanted to make sure I wanted to see what the people that had the bad things to say had to say. I looked in PubMed. I found even more studies than I was sent. And then I went to my first event. Within like 2 weeks, I went to my first big event. So if you have yet to register for a big event with LifeVantage, 100% all in, go to the events. Go to the events. If you go to an event, you get so much more than just, I mean, just more than just people wanting to be at an event, you guys. Like everybody that's there desires to be there. And that was huge for me too. But just getting the big picture, the idea behind the business, the culture, the community, all the things. Um, but yeah, so my friend, back to my friend, this was the prayer I had prayed. I knew about NRF2 at the time of her death. She was taking 9 of the 10 components of NRF2 and NRF1 in therapeutic doses, which is what we're taught as physicians. And when I saw the power of activation really being the subtherapeutic dosing, really, really low dosing in just the right blend. So it's the recipe, you guys, that makes it 1,800 times more effective. Such subtherapeutic dosing. I've been able to dose this in very tiny children and even pregnant women. Just there's a lot. The dosing is so minimal. I've had one pregnancy, one breastfeeding experience with being activated as well. And just it's just completely different. So it was the science. I was a sucker for the science. I actually, other than knew anything about network marketing, other than to avoid it. That's it. That's all I knew. And I really had no idea why I even was told that. And I did a really good job of that until this product came into my life. And there was nothing at the time like it, and there is still nothing like it now. And everything I had heard negative about the network marketing industry, I got to debunk myself with our company and with what I have experienced. And there really is zero other platforms to do business that are better than what, in my opinion, than what LifeVantage offers. Products, compensation plan, culture, it's the whole package. So that was probably longer than you were expecting.
No, it's amazing. I love hearing that. And I also prayed for something to come into my life as well. And I feel like that's the great majority of the people that enter our company, which is another piece to the LifeVantage culture that I love. Um, how quickly did you integrate this into your practice? I mean, did you know right away? And what were some of the things that you started to see as you introduced
So
LifeVantage to your patients?
before I even got my products, I was enrolling people. I was on my phone nonstop. We actually, I enrolled, and then the next day we left on a family vacation for a week. And I had more people had their product even before I did because we were gone. And then when I got back, I just kept getting more fueled by the science that I was reading, and the testimonies that I was also seeing, and canceled patients even after being gone for a week to go to that convention. So the people that say they don't have time or they can't afford it, or they, there's all sorts of excuses, and they really are simply excuses. And they're the reason that you need this business even more than you think you do. You're too busy. Well, then you need time. And if you don't have money, well, then you need money. Whatever the thing is that you are using to say why you're not is actually the thing that God's going to use to show you your greatness in. And so I went to that event, and but there it was right away. Many started before like I said, many got there just before I did. Within a month, I started seeing changes in my own hair. Within the first week, waking up before my alarm clock, I've always had a ton of energy, always been a doer, doing all the things. Within a couple weeks, I was doing a workout series where you max out at the workout, and I finished the workout without maxing out, and I was like, what just happened? And there were several changes, things I noticed in myself that I had really no conditions or disease or any states of those things, but I had your typical like always felt tired no matter what no matter how much no matter how much I slept. My hair was starting to fall out, and all my labs were in check, and I was supplementing with various things. I had acne I didn't have even as a teen, just like random spots. I had a rash that I'd get on my neck and on my right arm. All of that. I mean, weight gain that just was coming off, really doing nothing else different besides activating my body. And my hairdresser was the first one who noticed my hair. I went to get my hair done, and she was like, "What are you doing?" Because I had new hair growth all over my head, even where women typically tend to struggle with their hair. But I'm in chiropractic profession, but I'm also in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. So think like your mix of like primary care mixed with chiropractor. I do acupuncture as well, and an allergy elimination technique called NATE. And I've always done a lot of nutrition with my practice as well. So I'm kind of a blend of things, right? So but I did see your typical changes in people's ability to hold an adjustment, the way that their bodies and their muscles and their joints, their movement and their range of motion, their ability to do their daily activities of daily living that improve. But I also got to see changes in labs. I've seen massive changes in people, and that, I mean, it really started how soon, you were kind of asking, right away and ongoing. Some of my very first customers are still customers of mine. So people will talk about LifeVantage and their retention rate, being over 80%. And I 100%, my business is definitely that. People stick around. And when people know how much you care about them, you remember their story, you remember what they've been through, you remember kind of their progression of things. But you're also here to help them get their result, regardless of what that is, like, what it takes to get there. And activation is it's a part of a healthy lifestyle. It's just a really powerful tool to have in your tool belt. It's other than just do this and nothing else for your health. It's like, this is a really powerful tool to add to your health regimen. And it's just one of those massive self-care is the real health care. And this is something you can do for yourself, whether you understand the science or not. You can literally just put it in your body and you start getting the benefits. And the sooner you start thinking good thoughts about doing that, like, this is going to bless me, and this is going to help my body. And when you really think of just, I like to use the analogy of getting back to the health of your cells, because that is really what we do here. We look at cellular health and we think, what can go wrong in a cell? And the things that when we look at end things, the end of life, what are people dealing with? Those symptoms, conditions, and diseases, right? If we go back and we look at the cell and we say, what goes wrong in the cell that leads to leads to those issues, right? We can go back to the cell and think, okay, so what happens there? High levels of oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, metabolic dysfunction, high levels of inflammation. We look at that cells, how the cell is functioning. And if we can help that cell fix, then a healthy cell will lead to a healthy tissue, will lead to healthy organ systems, and then healthy humans. And so I mean, compliantly, we can't, I am other than able to talk to you about conditions, symptoms, or disease. But you all, I've been spending my whole life doing that because I'm a chiropractor. We treat subluxation. And do other things get better when you treat subluxation? 100% they do. But we've been governed by medical and insurance companies for what we can say forever. That has not changed. That is still the same thing. But I don't even care if I talk about that. That's end stage stuff. If we talk about the beginning, we don't ever have to talk about the end stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like we can just go back to the creating healthy cells. And if you can think about activation as the most powerful tool you can use to create healthy cells, and we have that here and no one else has it, it's like, boom, just things just change.
Absolutely. Um, Before LifeVantage, I had gone down the conventional route, and that didn't end well for me. Um, and I was left with a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of doctors that had gaslit me and basically made me feel like I was the crazy one when I was just sick and nobody knew what to do. I eventually was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, but and I had all sorts of things happen to me over the years. But after even that route, I did seek care from a chiropractor who did muscle testing, and I was swallowing 70 pills a day, granted natural supplements. Um, I was exhausted and I felt like I was slightly getting better, but it was so slow. And maybe you could explain a little bit, you know, the difference between supplementation and activation, because I know you utilize both, and I do really believe there's absolutely some supplements out there that are very helpful. Um, but I would love for you to kind of give your explanation of the difference because most people think of what we do is we're just a company full of supplements again, but that's not really what we are.
No, definitely not at all. And that is, still a huge thing. Like I I like to think of supplementation like we're bringing something to a cell it doesn't have enough of. So we're fulfilling a deficiency. You got a glass half full of water, you need to fill it back up. That's a kind of supplementation thing. And supplementation is designed to supplement your diet. So you should be getting most of your nutrients from your food. And we forget that, that's where we are what we eat. And so when you look at what you're putting in, that whatever's at the end of your fork is either feeding disease or it's feeding health. And that's where we're going to get most of our big nutrients, our protein, our carbs, and our fat. And it's also where we're going to get most of our micronutrients. But because our soils are depleted and because we out, are in a work in progress at making better healthy choices, right? Like there's this display of what we're putting in, if we're getting enough from what we're eating even when we're trying, right? So that's where supplements can come in and kind of help fill in those deficiencies in what you're choosing to put in, and also deficiencies in the food, our food supply, and our soil. I mean, I'm married to a farmer too, and I can still tell you, like, this is legit what they do. They're testing the soil to see what nutrients the soil is deficient in, and then they're trying to supplement the soil to help supplement the food. But it's a process of things, right? But activation, you guys, is 100% different. That goes back to that. The perfect blend turns on the pathway exponentially. So instead of just taking something, we take it so that our body starts making it again. We take protandim NRF2 so our body makes antioxidants. We take NRF1 so that we start making healthful mitochondria and healthy energy. We take NAD so that we can make sirtuins. We take collagen so we can make collagen. It really is such a different process than supplementation. And what you're looking for again is that right recipe to just turn. It's like flipping the switches on the DNA the right way. The study of epigenetics, and really we were kind of at the forefront of that movement of really realizing that you're not destined to your DNA, right? Your DNA is just this blueprint that's there, and what turns on or makes us express things on parts of our DNA is the lifestyle choices we're making. And it's more than just the foods we're eating, you guys. It's how much stress is in your life. How much movement are you doing? Are you breathing? There's a bunch of variables that can affect our expression. But when you choose activation, you literally turn on the expression of those good genes and off the expression of the bad genes. It's like God is so smart. He made our bodies just equipped with this beautiful, orchestrated, just fabulous design. And we can take God's pharmacy to make God's pharmacy. And that is activation. Instead of just trying to fill that cup up, we can allow the body to do what it was designed. And when you are activated, you get more out of that food that you're putting in. And it gets easier to make healthful choices because your body is getting more of what it needs because it's making it. Once upon a time, those genes were already on, and it's our environment, it's our lifestyle that leads to those pathways getting dimmed or turned down. Just think of like your light switch getting dimmed. That's literally what happens as we age, unless we have other things in place.
I love that explanation, and it's very easy for us non-medical people to understand. So thank you. Um, is there a specific set of products that you know, you start your patients on? Do you gravitate towards a certain set? If you could explain, like, what would be your base? Because I know what I take. I'm a product of the product. I love all of our products. But the activation products that we have, those are what I do prioritize, and because they're very powerful. But I would love to know, what you typically do with a patient that you see.
Well, I love our products too, and I take all of them as well. But I can tell you, compliance for someone to take everything all at once, right out of the gate, let me tell you, you've got to be into health already. You got to be like, I'm ready for it. I'm here for it, and I'm committed, and I'm just going to do the deal because compliance on that would be challenging just straight across the board. So I like to start everyone with something foundational and baseline that to address whatever their outcome is, and then build from there. And I like to even tell them that when we start, like, let's start with a foundation and you get really good at doing that. And then we reassess to where you are and see what we can tweak in your regimen. And we do really have some awesome options for that. I have a lot of people that like the Vitality Stack packets or the Tri-Synergizer packets and Axio because it's all portable, it's easy peasy. They can just go with that. And then I also have a lot that do Protandim and the liquid collagen or one of the packets in the packet collagen Axio. Again, portability and just ease of being able to like leave some at my office, leave some in my purse. You can grab and you can go. But those are kind of my base go-tos are typically Nerve 2 and collagen, a Vitality Stack packet, a Tri-Synergizer packet. And I mean, I love Axio for everybody, but that is just depends on the person and where they are as far as what's priority to them. And then, since Mind Body has come, And never mind body by itself. I love having that NRF2 there. Like NRF2 is the base for every human, everybody, everywhere, from in utero till death, if you ask me. It's just one of those, just everybody. So I do like that stack too, the NRF2 and the mind body as well. But again, it's just what are their goals and then what can we do to help them get there, and starting with the foundation and then building from there. But those are my go-to's.
Can you talk a little bit about the science behind the liquid activated collagen and NRF2 together? And I mean, I honestly, being in 9 years, I've seen a lot of the products launch and honestly have noticed next level um changes, major changes for the better in people when our collagen launched and NRF2 and liquid activated collagen started to be paired together. It like another level.
Well, I mean, one thing I really love about this company is we always do the same thing. We do studies, we do patents, and then we get results, studies, patents, results. And that is such a huge thing. And the study on NRF2 and collagen was next level. That's the best way to describe it. If you're really sciencey and into the nerdy stuff and you look at those pathways that are involved, and what's interesting, again, like, we're other than supposed to really talk about those what those genes are studied for. But if you just Google them, just like ask Chat GPT or what everybody does right now with all this AI stuff that's around. I'm other than technologically inclined like that. I love humans, technology, other than my jam. But you can literally type in those genes and see what they're studied in. And it's going to blow your mind. I mean, I'm just going to tell you that straightforward before you look at it because it's incredible. But what I can say is it cuts the stress response, the perpetuation of stress in your body. So think of your stress level like a hamster going on the wheel, right? It literally cuts that into a third. So it's like slowing him down a third of his speed. This is the stress response that's happening in your body, the stress perpetuation by a third. And all you're doing is taking one tablet and drinking one shot of collagen. I mean, that's enough alone for every single adult that I know to just be floored by that. A third, and that's all you're doing. You know what else you would have to do to cut your stress perpetuation by a third? Oh, like a lot. It would take you a lot to get that to happen. And 100% increase in collagen density in 8 weeks. And you know that collagen, we hear about it for hair, skin, and nails, and we have some impressive before and afters. I tell everyone if you're over 40, it's week 3. Your pictures are going to be totally different. Take pictures of everything, and you'll see that externally. But what excites me more were the testimonies I would get back regarding other things for people, right? Their changes in in the bedroom, the changes in their eyes, the changes in their blood pressure, their heart, their lungs, cholesterol panels. I mean, there's literally 0 systems I've seen that have not been impacted by the NRF2 and collagen combo. It's that impressive. And when you think of the collagen lining as being a part of all of those things, brain, I've seen people dealing with things that, without calling conditions, things of the brain. Think of things that people often have that make them really sad, or think repetitive thoughts over and over again. All of that stuff changing massively. And when you look at COVID, when that whole thing happened, and the shedding of that, what that happens, that attaches to our collagen layer in our bodies. And our bodies are so smart. They literally go and grab that up and eat away your collagen to eat that off of you. But guess what happened to your collagen levels during that time frame and since, because there's still stuff like that floating around. Your collagen levels just went down, 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 down. So you put this in and boom, 100% increase in 8 weeks. Now imagine just over time with that. So, I mean, that study Massively huge. And that's not the only one, you guys. Like all the studies we have on just protandem are incredible. And our trisynergizer, taking our three together makes them exponentially more powerful too. So um, there's just think about pathways in the body. Like there's no just one magical pathway, but when we put all the pathways working together at one time, we get boom, a better result, right? And that's exactly what is so cool. And what opens up for us when we do that is we have access to just a whole nother level of health. And when people are other than activated, they have yet to experience that. And you have the gift of sharing that with them, and not from this perspective that I am right now, where I'm talking to you about all of the science. I mean, you're going to find some people that want the science. Send recordings of things like this where someone else is explaining it, but care enough about the person in front of you to just open your mouth and say, like, man, I'm hearing you, like I'm listening to you, and I have something that may help you. I mean, just simple, just care. That's it.
For me, that's very easy to do. I spend a lot of time with my customers, which leads me, and consultants, which leads me to my next question for you, because um, I don't take this lightly, and I never want someone to just sign up. If I have someone that will say, I'll try it for a month or I'll try it for 3 months, I tell them, no, I'm not interested in a new customer. I don't, until you can give this 6 to 12 months, with regardless of age. I do tell people, like, I honestly, I can't, I don't want to sign you up because this this takes time and you need to give our products the due diligence it deserves. How do you explain activation to people and that length of time? Because I know some people, might think it's just another supplement that I've tried everything like me. But I knew after I researched this that I was in it for the long haul. And I do get a lot of people at times saying, well, you're going to be on this forever. Hey, I'm not on any medications. Like, I don't need anything else. And, it's changed my life. So I would love maybe your explanation on what you say to people when you are talking to them.
Yeah. So the first thing I'll always say is, at least a month of usage per decade of age. So if you're 30, that's 3 months. That's a bare minimum when you give that recommendation. If you have any symptoms, even the symptoms I was having, which I was just attributing to like, like this is just the way it is. Must be the way it is for everybody that's my age, things, right? Symptoms. If you have any symptoms, conditions, or disease, you're going to need to give it longer, probably double that. And really what we even just looking at the studies, the level of antioxidant production at 4 months was significantly better than at 1 month. And so we're really just comparing like what's going to happen inside your cells, and cleaning up your cells is other than an overnight project. It's not a take this pill and tomorrow morning, boom, good to go. It's like going to the gym. It's a healthy lifestyle choice. The longer you do it, the more you're going to see it and feel it, and others will notice as well. And really, it's just simple. It's totally different than a supplement. It's going to take time. And the reason it's going to take time is because it's repairing your cellular pathways. It's not just pouring into an empty cup.
I love that explanation. Um, and lastly, obviously I'm going to swing this another way because you're a chiropractor who owns a brick and mortar business and you decided to join LifeVantage. Um, I would love to know, what your thought process was as to wanting really to become a consultant in the company, join a network marketing company that is based and rooted in science and offer it to your patients versus just being a customer. I mean, obviously, like I knew that I wanted to probably share these products with people after what happened. Like I was like you, before my kit even showed up, I had consultants and customers lining up to sign up because they knew how sick I was and knew that if I were to research something, then it's legit. I do everything based off of research that I do. So I would love, maybe you answer this question speaking to another medical professional looking at this or somebody deciding on whether or not they should be a customer or consultant. Um, you're in the medical profession and it's not common, but I would love for you to kind of share your heart with, your experience since 2017 when you joined.
Yeah. So, well, like I told you guys at the beginning, I mean, all I knew about network marketing was to avoid it. So I asked, some basic questions like, what do I have to do? Like, are there certain quotas, that kind of thing. But the other thing was after reading the science, I already knew, like, I just knew in my heart that this was something I had a moral obligation to share. Like, I felt it to my soul, like, I have to share this with people. And sharing, turns out that you build a business in this business by sharing. Like, you literally share and they pay you. It was seriously that simple. It was 6 months in before I even looked at the compensation plan. Was I getting paid? Yes. Were people, enrolling? Yes. Like, all of that stuff was happening. It was a natural byproduct of it. But the thing about that is that was different and different than my other business, in a lot of ways. And this, I have this conversation with professionals now, is like, what is it that you don't have that you would like to have? And I can tell you what I didn't have them was time. I did not have time freedom. If I left, I would stack patients in, and then I didn't get paid when I was gone. And then when I'd get back, I'd be stacking patients in again. And so vacation was actually more torturous for me than it was beneficial, because it was exhausting to go. And then I would have a 2 or 3 days of enjoyment and then come back to just mass chaos again. So it was the time freedom. With this business, you can create a leveraged income, like really leveraged, where I can take a vacation and I still get paid. You guys, I went to school for years. I graduated at the top of my class from high school, college, and chiropractic school, and I still had loans from my chiropractic. I mean, I was working a ton of hours and I still had loans to pay. I built a building and a business with blood, sweat, and tears, with all of that background. And literally with this business, like, you're plugging into a system, you guys. It's so simple. And both of my businesses, my paychecks were a direct reflection of the lives I've impacted. But like, and that's, other than saying that building a LifeVantage business is easy. It's not easy. It's simple. And you know what? It's easy if you say it's easy, and it's hard if you say it's hard. And it is what you're perceiving it as. I mean, it was beautiful, and it was fun, and there were times when it was frustrating. I mean, it was all of the things that business is. But there's just something about building this business that gives you something you other than have. And for some doctors, that's community, it's culture, it's finding your people. Like, my friends are as weird as me. Like, my kids will say this, like, man, your LifeVantage friends are just like you. They're all weird. And they are. Like, really, you start building a business with people that are like you, that you want to spend time with. And you get to vacation with them, and you go to conventions, trips with them. But you're traveling and you're doing life. You're on Zooms with people that are just like you. It's and I say that weird in like a friendly and a fun way. Like, they're just saying, like I found my people, right? So a lot of physicians, I are in a lonelier world, right? You go and you treat patients all day long, and then by the time you get done doing that, day after day after day, you want to unpeople. Like, you just want time away from people in general, and that can be secluding in a lot of ways too. And across all medical professions, not just saying mine. What I've seen So it's culture, it's community, it's fun, it's leveraged income, it's having time freedom back. And honestly, the biggest check I've paid myself in a month has been through my LifeVantage business. And I it's not because I'm not a good doctor, you guys. And I say that in a humble way that sounded other than um, kind, but I mean, I have a waiting list practice in the middle of nowhere. I see a ton of patients, and and I'm intelligent. It's other than that. It's just so different. You know, the overhead I have with my LifeVantage business is the products I take, which I love taking. And I was taking products before and recommending products before, not 70 a day, but I do muscle testing, and I do recommend things for people. And this is just that tool that gets people a better result in a shorter period of time. And that's not just the products, that's the business too. And when people really see what this is, it's just beautiful. It really is. So I hopefully that answered your question.
It did. And I appreciate it. And I always love to have, many different perspectives talking about it. I have myself built a business over the last 9 years that has completely changed our lives as we know it. Um, Not even just health wise, but our financial future and, um, the lives of so many people. Yeah, obviously, as you know, when one person says yes, and then you can see that reflection. Both of us we're very small town,
Mm-hmm.
people, and um, it's a very powerful ripple effect that we've both had and everybody else in LifeVantage that did say yes and all the lives that can be changed. So I do really appreciate your time tonight, very much, and the way you've explained everything. I am going to go ahead and end the recording and we can open it up for questions. And for those that are wondering, this will be posted on my YouTube channel this evening after the call. So thank you again, Dr. Jess. I so appreciate you.
Yes, you're welcome. This was great. It was nice to be here.